He does have a lot of entertaining fights. Moving up to the card, speaking of entertaining fights, Lauren Murphy.
Yeah, did we skip around a little bit? I think we missed Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Unless you have that later on your slate.
Yeah, I have that one next.
Oh, okay, sounds good. All right, well, Jessica Andrade versus Lauren Murphy. I'm just gonna peep the odds for this one real quick. Minus 460, Jessica Andrade. That makes a lot of sense. I mean,
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, but this is another one. Jessica Andrade has fought some of the best competition that the UFC has to offer for, the smaller women's divisions. She's done great things against them. And I think this is going to be another case where she just gets on top of Lauren Murphy, abuses her, lands heavy elbows, and then eventually locks up a submission. You'd think maybe there has to be like a major upset on this card at some point. But, you look at the UK cards, right? The UK cards, they've set up absolute layups for their fight for the British and, UK, Welsh, whatever fighters over the past couple of cards. And that's what they're clearly doing with Brazil outside of like the main event. And then, the fight that I mentioned before, Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. I think outside of that, a lot of these fights are very clear layups. They're building stars, or bringing stars back to Brazil and reminding the Brazilian people, like, these are, your guys. Like, here's who to rally behind. This is another one of those fights. Lauren Murphy has a good history, but and she's fought for the belt before, but she sucked in that fight for the belt. Andrew Schultz famously called her a diner waitress. And then you have Jessica Andrade locking up standing arm triangle chokes. So, it's vastly different between these two women. Jessica Andrade, like I said, she could bring her to the ground. I think you could also see her just walking down Lauren Murphy and knocking her out on her feet very early in this fight. Minus 460, it sucks. But unlike most women's fights that we bet on, I don't think you take this one by decision. I actually think you take Jessica Andrade to finish this fight.
And the other interesting thing that I want to point out here is this fight is happening at 125 pounds. And if you're watching, if you're on Spotify, we post the video on Spotify. So if you're watching on Spotify, or you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, you maybe didn't see this, but as Keith was doing his breakdown, I was going through and I was looking through Jessica Andrade and looking at her history. She fights at 115 and she fights at 25. Her losses most recently is to Valentina Shevchenko at 25. So that's going to be the best and the brightest here. But her other losses to Rose Namajunas at 115. And, when Jessica Andrade can get down to 115, I think she looks great. But it also depends on how that weight cut goes. Getting a little bit older now, that's probably getting harder for her. And she's just a very brolic woman. You could see here in her picture. She's got great shoulders, biceps, triceps. She's very strong. So I think she's probably going to have a weight advantage here over Lauren Murphy. Definitely a muscle advantage. Lauren Murphy is 39 years old. Hasn't looked great. She got the win over Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate hasn't looked great. She came back, got a win over a 40-year-old fighter, and that's really the last we're probably going to hear from her. I think Miesha Tate's wife, or is Miesha Tate lesbian? I think she had her wife or someone fighting yesterday. Actually, I could be getting that confused. What was that?
Miesha Tate's a lesbian?
I don't know. Don't take my word for that. I've made a ton of mistakes on this video already. So don't take my word as my bond.
That's news to me.
Don't take my word as bond here. But that being said, or I guess not being said, she got the loss against Miesha Tate, which doesn't inspire a lot of confidence if you're Lauren Lucky Murphy. I guess that's why she's called Lucky. And then she's got the loss of Valentina Shevchenko, where she looks absolutely terrible in. She's got the win over Joanne Calderwood, who I guess that's all right. We're looking at a year and a half ago. Lilia Shakarova, not in the UFC anymore. And then Roxanne Modafferi, not in the UFC anymore 2.5 years ago. I think Lauren Murphy just isn't going to have anything for Jessica Andrade. If she tries to get in there and stand and fight with her, the 6-inch reach advantage that she's going to have, I don't think is ultimately going to benefit her all that much because of the power coming back. And ultimately, if Jessica Andrade is going to be able to get in there in order to land some uppercuts and some power shots and get past that reach of Lauren Murphy, she's also going to be able to take her down. She's going to have that physical strength. And she's probably, almost definitely, is going to have the technical acumen to be able to get it done wherever she wants. So, minus 460, it's a little heavy coming back, but Jessica Andrade to win inside the distance, I think is a fight that, or is a bet that I would feel comfortable putting my money on.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about Jessica Andrade. So I'm rolling with